Welcome back. Let's pot up the dendrobium that came from China 4 weeks ago, and also my Japanese Dendrobium moniliforme. After I unpacked the 4 dendrobiums that came from China, I let them soak for half an hour in a light seaweed solution, and so they could suck up some water and extra vitamins. After the soak, I potted them up all together in quite tightly packed moist sphagnum moss, and here they've been acclimatizing for the last 4 weeks. They lost some leaves and the flowers are gone, so they are ready to start a new life in my newly acquired pots for them. Because I potted them all together, when taking them out of that pot, I must make sure not to mix up the labels, and I also don't want to damage the roots that were still viable. Although they lost some leaves, the plants are looking good and 3 out of 4 have started growing new canes. Since I will repot them in sphagnum moss, I use approximately the same technique as with my Neophynetia falcata. A cone in the middle of the pot assures for good air circulation and quicker drying out of the moss. Although these orchids like it humid, they don't want their roots to stay wet for too long. If they do, they will simply rot away. So a bit of moss around the cone, then placing the orchid on top and cover up with more sphagnum moss. Keep in mind that I soak the moss before using it, because when dry, it is very brittle. The moss is firmly squeezed around the roots and the mesh pot. This way it doesn't absorb as much water and dries out quicker. The reason why I'm using moss again is because we had such a hot summer last year and I couldn't keep up with watering or keep the humidity up. That's because all of my cooler orchids go outside sheltered in summer, and as you can see, I have mesh pots ready in different sizes to fit every pot I will be using. And while I will be potting up this 4 dendrobium in the same way, let's speed it up so it won't get boring. Since I also have a small collection of Japanese Dendrobium moniliforme, I will repot them at the same time too. You may notice the difference in size of the canes between the Japanese and the Chinese forms. The larger canes on the Chinese forms are approximately 40 centimeters or 16 inch in length, while the Japanese wild form and the varieties stay well under 25 centimeters or 10 inches. Some are even just 7 or 8 centimeters in length. While these Japanese ones are not as tall, I took out a bunch of smaller pots and I will be potting them up in a slightly different way. The roots will be packed in moss again, but without a cone. I had most of them growing in bark, but I've been having problems with the roots dying because I couldn't keep up with the humidity last summer. Maybe I should have repotted them last autumn, but I decided to wait and see if they would come through winter. In the wild, Dendrobium moniliforme grows on trees, but equally easily grows on rocks lithophytically. So if you can keep the humidity high enough, you can mount them on practically everything with a rough surface so the roots can attach to it. As for watering, while growing in moss, I thoroughly wet the moss once or twice a week. I do this by soaking the pots. However, on a daily basis, when it's warmer, I mist in the morning or if necessary in the evening too. And as for fertilizing, this is done when they are soaked and flushed at the same time. And here are the wild Chinese and Japanese form of Dendrobium moniliforme. You can clearly see the difference in size of the canes. And this one's Dendrobium fanjingshanense, only discovered and described in 2001 while growing high up in the mountains of Hengduan province. Since then, it has been propagated by seed, but still is uncommon in orchid collections in the West. In the meantime, a second and much larger population has been found that's growing more east and has much darker reddish flowers. And here's the last bunch of Japanese varieties, again of Dendrobium moniliforme. So far, only the wild form did produce a few flowers, but it seems like more are coming. Thanks for watching, and until next time, then I'll do a new unboxing.